Here's something that surprises every traveler to Italy we talk to. Some of the best things to bring home don't come from those cute little tourist shops near the big attractions or from the duty-free at the airport. They come from the supermarket, the same place regular Italians shop for their food.
And once you think about it, it makes complete sense. Why would the everyday foods that Italians eat not be amazing?
In this video, we're going to walk you through the best food products to bring home from Italy. The products that where Italian quality just can't be matched, or that are really hard to find at home, or that when you find them, they cost twice as much. And we'll tell you exactly what to look for on the label, because every product on the shelf isn't created equal.
These are all products that you can legally bring into the United States. Now, different countries have different rules, so be sure and check. Some of these products you'll recognize and others will genuinely surprise you. Andiamo!
Before we get into the list, there are a couple of things worth knowing. First, a lot of food shops near tourist attractions sell products with labels that look almost homemade. They're designed with old-fashioned lettering and illustrations. The idea is to make you think it's a high-quality artisanal product.
But those labels are meant to deceive you. The products inside are often of lower quality and at 2 or 3 times the price than the products that you'd actually find at the supermarket. So don't let the attractive packaging fool you. The supermarket is your friend.
The second thing are products labeled DOP or IGP. These are European quality standards that will come up a lot in this video. It's helpful to know about them when you're choosing products.
DOP, Denominazione di Origine Protetta, or Protected Designation of Origin, means the product was made in a specific region using a specific traditional method. These are very special products.
While IGP means Indicazione Geografica Protetta, or Protected Geographical Indication. That's slightly more flexible, but still guarantees a connection to the specific place and production standards. These are extremely good products.
When you see either of these symbols on a label, it's a reliable signal that what you're getting is the genuine article. So now that you know what they mean, we won't have to stop and explain them each time as we go through the video.
Let's start with balsamic vinegar, because this is one where people are really shocked to find out what it is. It's not the stuff we put on salads, which is really just white wine vinegar with flavorings and color. This is an entirely different product.
Real balsamic vinegar comes from just 2 places in Italy, Modena and Reggio Emilia, in the region of Emilia-Romagna. And there are 3 levels of product to know about.
The top level is traditional balsamic vinegar. This is aceto balsamico tradizionale. And this is made in a series of barrels over a long period of time, aged at least 12 years, and sometimes up to 100 years. That a family will keep for themselves. It's sold in very small bottles of about 3 ounces, and it's quite expensive. A 12-year-old at a 3-ounce bottle costs over €80, and it goes up from there. It's got a very complex flavor that's hard to describe, but it adds a really special flavor to all sorts of foods. Surprisingly, even ice cream. A few drops are great on some vanilla ice cream.
And in the middle is a more accessible version, which is aged for a shorter period of time and is considerably less expensive, but it still carries a designation.
The most accessible level is called Aceto Balsamico di Modena, IGP. And the IGP is really important. That's what tells you it's produced according to the traditional process and not white wine vinegar with colorings and flavors. It's something you can buy in any supermarket. It's in the range of €8. And this is what you would use on salads.
So what do you want to avoid? You want to avoid that thick, syrupy stuff with fake flavorings and colorings that you find in touristy shops in cutesy bottles with cutesy labels, but no IGP or DOP designation. That stuff is, well, it's not any good. It's not any better than what you get back home in the supermarket, probably not even that good. So what you want to do is stick to the stuff you get in a supermarket, but that does have the DOP or the IGP designation. If you get something with the IGP designation, you'll get a product that's actually really good, and you'll only pay about €5 for it.
While we're in Emilia-Romagna, let's talk about one of their other great food products. This is Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. And this is completely different than what you're used to back home. Anything that's just called Parmesan cheese is an entirely different product. And the great thing about this cheese is you can bring it home.
Which really shocked me when I first heard that.
Yeah, hard cheeses are allowed in the US. Of course, in any other country you would have to check. But as long as it's packaged, you can bring home as much Parmesan as you'd like to bring home.
Now, while you can bring Parmigiano Reggiano and Pecorino and other hard cheeses in, you may not bring soft cheeses in through US customs. So things like mozzarella or burrata, that's a no. And while we're on the subject of customs, there are absolutely no meat products allowed into the country from abroad. So you're just going to have to enjoy your prosciutto while you're still in Italy. At the grocery store, you'll find it in wedges of various sizes, and most stores will go ahead and vacuum pack it if that's what you want. All you have to do is ask for sottovuoto.
We did a price comparison of Parmigiano Reggiano in the US and in Italy, and for the same cheese, the same age, 24, 30 months, it's about half as expensive in Italy as it is in the United States. So it's a really good product to bring home.
And we always do.
This next one, if you haven't tried it, you're in for a treat. This is crema di pistachio, or pistachio cream. This is sort of like Nutella, except rather than being made out of hazelnuts and chocolate, it's made out of pistachios. It's slightly sweet and creamy and is delicious spread on crackers or toast, or even eaten with a spoon right out of the jar.
He's not exaggerating about the spoon. That's how I love to eat it, because I love pistachios.
You can find it in virtually any Italian supermarket for €5 to €8, and once you've tried it, you'll feel like that's the bargain of the century.
A couple of things to look for when you're buying your crema di pistachio. The first one is the pistachio content. What percentage of the total ingredients is it? And of course, the higher the percentage of pistachios, the more intense the flavor and the better the flavor. For example, this little jar has 45% pistachios, so that's pretty darn good. A lot of them don't have that much. Second, you want to look at the color. So you're looking for kind of a muted green, almost like a dull khaki colored green. You don't want something that's sort of a bright, vivid green, because that means it's more food coloring and other additives and not mostly pistachios. The real thing isn't Instagram pretty, but it tastes a lot better than anything that is.
Now in Sicily, they grow some of the best pistachios, in particular on the slopes of Mount Etna. There's a Pistachio di Bronte DOP that makes a superb crema di pistachio. So if you see that, grab it.
Yeah, worth every penny.
Truffles are something a lot of people associate with Italy, and it's true. And they want to bring home something related to truffles. But real truffles are very expensive. The white truffles are more than $1,000, maybe even $2,000 a pound. So people will reach for truffle oil when they see it, which sounds reasonable, but it's almost always fake.
Yeah, don't buy that stuff. Most commercial truffle oil doesn't contain any actual truffles. It's flavored with a synthetic compound called, and usually it's a chemical called dithiapentane, which is, it's synthetic and it's used to mimic the smell of truffles, but it's totally artificial. It has nothing whatsoever to do with truffles. You can think of it kind of like new car smell that, you know, when you buy a used car, the dealer will spray that in the car to make you think it smells like a new car. Well, this makes you think it's going to be real truffles. And they sell this in duty-free and all the tourist shops, and it's just really, you're wasting your money. Fortunately, there are much better alternatives available that actually do contain real truffle.
And the answer to that is truffle paste or truffle salt.
Truffle paste is typically minced black truffles mixed with olive oil and sometimes with some porcini mushrooms for added depth. And it's intensely flavorful, it's versatile, and it can be used in a number of ways. You can put some in pasta, you could put it in scrambled eggs, you can spread it on crostini. The great thing about it is because it has such an intense flavor, a little bit of it goes a long way. And so if you buy one of these little jars, while you're spending, 8 to 10 euro for a small jar, it'll last you quite a while.
Truffle salt is also a very simple product. It's dried black truffle mixed with sea salt, and you use it the way you would any what's called a finishing salt. Once you've cooked a dish and you're ready to present it, you put it on top to give a little additional flavor. It's great on a wide range of things: vegetables, meat, even popcorn. And again, like the truffle paste, a little bit goes a long way, and it lasts essentially forever.
The key with both of these products is to read the ingredient label very carefully. So truffles, which are tartufi in Italian, should be listed as one of the primary ingredients, if not the first ingredient on the ingredient label. If the label uses words like aroma or aromatizzante di tartufo, then you know that they're hiding behind those words and there aren't really any truffles in there at all.
Umbria and Tuscany and very northern Marche are the best places to buy truffles because that's where most of the black truffles come from. But truly, you can get good truffle paste or truffle salt any place in Italy.
And they make an incredibly impressive gift for anyone who cooks because nobody expects truffle anything to come at a reasonable price.
So you can give a great gift and nobody will know how little you spent. Here's another one that's a great gift for the cooks on your list: dried porcini mushrooms. You can add them to all sorts of dishes. A little bit of their dried earthy flavor adds a special taste to many dishes. And these are available all over Italy.
And they're one of the best things to pack and bring back because they weigh almost nothing.
Exactly. This bag that Anne is holding weighs a little under 2 ounces, and you get a lot of porcini mushrooms there, so you can see that it's not going to make your suitcase weigh too much.
And doesn't need refrigeration at all or anything else.
So just as an example of what I was talking about coming in and buying things, I noticed some porcini mushrooms. I got this huge bag for €12. I also got sun-dried tomatoes for €2. And then a nice bottle of pistachio cream that I have to dig out of my bag. That, it's wrapped up.
Don't worry.
But it's sort of like a little jar of peanut butter, but it tastes divine for spreading a little bit on various things.
Expect to pay about 10 to 15 euros for a good sized bag, and a little goes a long way. So if you just take, a handful and rehydrate them in some water, they'll add some intense flavor and depth to all sorts of things like soups, risotto, braised meats, vegetables, anything.
And be sure not to throw away the liquid because it has a lot of the great porcini flavor as well.
It's liquid gold.
Next up is pesto. And pesto is an ingredient that I thought I understood until I had pesto alla genovese. It's just different than the pesto you get most places, even in a jar in Italy. It's got a special flavor that's really hard to describe.
It really is amazing, and there's no comparison to what we get back home. There's just nothing like it.
The best pesto is always fresh, particularly if you're in Liguria. Take advantage of that, though even fresh and refrigerated in Italy is good. But to bring home, you need to take jarred. So what to look for is Basilico Genovese DOP on the label, and that will be the pesto that you'll really enjoy.
One brand worth looking for in the supermarket is the Tigullio brand. It's widely available, reasonably priced, and reliably good. And it'll cost you €3 or €4 per jar.
An important thing about pesto is that you don't really want to heat it very much. So you mix it with the cooked pasta, and that brings out the flavor and the aroma.
It's divine.
Okay, this one is pure fun. Pocket coffee. This is a product made by Ferrero, the same company that makes Nutella and the Ferrero Rocher candies that are wrapped in gold. This is a little ball of chocolate with a shot of espresso inside. So you get this wonderful flavor of dark chocolate and strong coffee.
They're totally addictive and much more effective than Red Bull at giving you a jolt and waking you up.
And they're really hard to find in the US, which makes them a great thing to bring home.
You can find pocket coffee in supermarkets and convenience stores all around Italy. And oftentimes they're at the checkout with the impulse items or in the candy aisle. And they come in various boxes of various sizes. So they make a great gift. You can pick which size to bring home and make your friends happy.
Now, of course, because they are chocolate, they're not the greatest thing to carry around in the heat. So they're really a better gift to bring home if you're here in the cooler months. At the end of your trip, if you're pretty sure you can keep them cool and refrigerated, they might be able to take them home in the summertime, but you might want to just wait till your next trip.
You don't want them melting all over your personal carry-on bag.
So let's go to Tuscany, at least in spirit, and talk about one of the most Tuscan things there is, cantucci and vin santo. Cantucci are small little hard cookies, and vin santo is a dessert wine. And you eat them together, you dip the cookies in the wine, and it really is the Tuscan way to end a meal.
And one of my favorite ways, I must say.
Cantucci, which Americans usually call biscotti, but though in Italian the word biscotti just means cookies, are hard little twice-baked cookies. And you dip them in the vin santo. And it's one of these things where the sum of the parts is greater than each of them by themselves.
Cantucci are available in any supermarket for €4 to €6 per package. Now for Vin Santo, any reputable wine shop or a well-stocked supermarket in Tuscany will have reliable choices. And also outside of Tuscany you can get it, but it might not be quite as available in your average supermarket. But if you want to look for Vin Santo del Chianti DOP, then you get a really reliable and authentic choice.
While we're on the subject of cookies from Tuscany, let's talk about rincerelli. These are traditional cookies from Siena. They're diamond-shaped, dusted with powdered sugar. They're soft and moist and dense with a flavor of almond with a hint of orange.
Delicious. And they're naturally gluten-free, so they're a great option to bring a gift for somebody who has dietary restrictions. Unfortunately, they are typically only available around Christmas time, which is why we don't have any to show you. But if you happen to be traveling to Italy, especially Tuscany, around the Christmas holidays, you're going to want to pick some of these up.
One reliable brand to look for is Marabisi. They've been making these traditional cookies for over 3 generations, and you can find a bag most places for €4 to €6.
They pair wonderfully with Vin Santo, so if you're already buying Vin Santo and Cantucci, just add a box of Ricciarelli and you'll have an impressive Tuscan dessert spread.
For your Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
Limoncello. Everybody wants to bring home limoncello, but there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it.
The bottles near the major tourist attractions are probably not the right way.
Here's what you want to look for. Limoncello made from lemons that come from around Amalfi or Sorrento. There are particular varieties there that are large with thick peels and intense aromatic smell. Since limoncello is made only with the peel of the lemon, not with the juice, this is really important, and it's what gives a great limoncello its wonderful flavor.
Yeah. I mean, if you get limoncello made with normal everyday lemons, well, it's okay, but it doesn't compare at all. So if you're visiting the Amalfi Coast or the Sorrento area or Capri, that's where you want to go and buy your limoncello if you can. And you can get it from a reputable food shop, a wine shop, or the best thing is to go directly to the producer. You'll get probably the best product at a very reasonable cost. A good limoncello should be intensely lemony and fragrant, not sweet and syrupy. And it should be kept cold, so keep it in the freezer and then bring it out and just sip it as a digestivo after dinner. And since it's liquid, you're going to need to bring it in home in your checked luggage. So make sure you wrap it up well so it doesn't break in your luggage.
Our first experience with limoncello was back in 1997 on our 10th anniversary trip. And one of the places we stayed was on a lemon farm. So of course their limoncello was homemade. And at that time, it was essentially unheard of in the US.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait to get home and to try to make it because they told me how to make it over there. And of course I've attempted, but have never been able to come close to producing the quality of their limoncello with the lemons I could get in the US.
Of course, we don't get those lemons, so oh well.
Oh well. Olive oil. This sounds like the perfect gift to bring home from Italy. There are a couple of things you ought to know because not all olive oil is what it seems to be.
Even in Italy?
Even in Italy. Unfortunately, the olive oil industry has a long history of taking olives from Greece and North Africa and Spain, bringing them to Italy, pressing them here, bottling them here, and then calling it Italian olive oil. Now, that's not always illegal, but it's certainly misleading.
Here's what to look for first. First, you want to look for the DOP or the IGP designation, because that tells you that the olives were grown and pressed in a specific Italian region according to regulated standards.
Second, you want to look for a producer name and really an address in a particular Italian area. If it just says a product of Italy, that's when you should be a little suspicious.
Third, look for a harvest date. So fresh olive oil is the best. So the harvest date will tell you exactly how old it is. So if it doesn't have a date, you probably just want to avoid that. And fourth, and this goes without saying, you're looking for the label that says extra virgin. That means it was cold pressed without any heat or chemicals and will have low acidity.
For packaging, look for dark glass or a tin, a metal container. The metal containers are particularly good for travel because they're less likely to break in your suitcase.
Here's a practical tip. Since olive oil is heavy, you probably don't want to buy it until the end of your trip because you don't want to be lugging that thing around. And then when you get ready to pack your suitcase for your final flight, you're going to ideally wrap it up in a plastic bag just in case of leakage. And it should arrive home in great condition. We've done this before and it worked out well.
It's a little bit exciting. In fact, we brought home a 5-liter container from the olives near our house here. And it was exciting when we got home and got to open the suitcase and see if we had a surprise of an oily suitcase or a container, a tin container that was intact, and the container was fine.
Yep, we had about a year's worth of olive oil. And the best way to enjoy a genuinely good extra virgin olive oil is the simplest way, drizzled on toast. There's nothing like it, honestly. Heat is the enemy of olive oil because it destroys the delicate flavors of the oil. So the best way to do it is to drizzle it on toast and you'll be able to just taste exactly what you're working with.
And to build on that, so the DOP level olive oil is good for this on toast and for salads. It's not really the type of oil you want to be using to cook on an everyday basis.
Yeah, you're kind of wasting a good thing.
And once you've tried it on toast, a good olive oil, you're going to want to keep having it day after day.
Yeah. Now, everything we've covered so far in the video, you can find in pretty much any Italian supermarket. But these next two are a little bit different, and they're not for everyone. We want to be very upfront about that.
But if you love to cook and you're the sort of person that is excited about finding a new ingredient, and particularly something that's hard to find at home, or if you know a cook like that, this is a time to pay attention, because these are some ingredients that separate real Italian food lovers from everybody else. The first one on our list is Colatura di alici di Cetara. Now, this one takes a little explanation, but stick with us because it's worth it.
Colatura di alici is an Italian anchovy sauce. It's a clear amber-colored liquid, and it's made by slowly fermenting salted anchovies in small wooden barrels. They've been making this in the town of Cetara on the Amalfi Coast for, centuries. And it's kind of Italy's answer to Asian fish sauce, but with a distinctly Mediterranean character.
The history of Colatura goes back to Roman times, and Romans had a sauce called garum, which is very similar. And then in the Middle Ages, the monks rediscovered it sort of by accident. They had barrels of salted anchovies that they were using to keep food preserved over time. And they discovered that the liquid that drained from the barrels was very flavorful. And that's the Colatura. Today, Cetara is the center of the production of what is the best Colatura di alici.
A few drops of Colatura transforms a dish completely. And the classic use of it is spaghetti alla colatura, which is just made with, obviously, spaghetti, colatura, good oil, garlic, a little bit of chili, and parsley. And it's one of the most intensely satisfying dishes you can make, and it only takes about 10 minutes to prepare.
But you could also use a little bit of it in salad dressing or on vegetables or to dress some seafood. But remember, it's intensely flavored, so a few drops go a long way, and it's likely to replace all of the salt in your recipe.
Yeah. Now, if you'd like to buy some colatura, of course, the best place to get it is in Colatura itself, but you can pretty much buy it in any well-stocked Italian grocery store. And what you want to do is check the ingredient listing very carefully. The only ingredients this should have in it are alici, anchovies, and salt, sale. So alici e sale, nothing else. If it has water as an ingredient, put it back. You don't want that.
Alici e sale. That's the entire list. Next, Sardinian bottarga. This is often called the truffle of the sea or Sardinian gold. It's cured, dried, pressed mullet roe, specifically from the gray mullet.
It's an acquired taste, I'll say that.
It certainly is. So this one's not for everyone. And then the comparison to truffle is really good in that you use very little of it and it has a very distinct taste. But for the right person who really likes that extra umami flavor, it's the perfect ingredient.
The classic preparation is spaghetti con bottarga. So you basically shave a little grated bottarga over the spaghetti, add some good olive oil, a little lemon zest, and parsley, and voila, you've got a delicious dish. Otherwise, you can grate it thinly over crostini or over roasted vegetables, and it's terrific.
The best variety to find is Bottarga di Muggine di Cabras IGP. Now, you can certainly find this all over Sardinia, but you can also find it mainland Italy in most well-stocked grocery stores. It comes in this pressed piece, or you can buy it as already shaved. But of course, just like with the truffle, you'd really ideally like to have it in the condition where you do the shaving, so it retains its flavor and aroma.
Now, of course, a little of this goes a long way because it is intensely flavorful. So you're not using it by the handful. Instead, you're just using it as a finishing ingredient. So one of these packages will last you a good long time.
So there you have it, some of the best food products to bring home from Italy. And I'm sure some of them you expected and some of them were new to you, and I hope you'll have a chance to try them.
And if this video gave you some ideas, we've got lots more tips about traveling in Italy. So if you'd like to see them, watch these videos next. Ciao for now.
A presto!